I was always told to spend a lot of time in school, and I spent a lot of time in school. I didn't graduate high school. I got a GED when I came back from Vietnam, but I never went to college. And I've always believed in school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. But in life, we're given a test that teaches us lessons. All of you can relate to what I'm saying. So I want to give you a lesson about jobs that I learned. Listen, this happens to be in LA. But in San Jose, California, and Denver, Colorado, and Dallas, Texas, I don't care if you live in a major city, you can put any sign up here you want, because we've all experienced this. So listen, what people do ordinary is they get dressed in clothes that they buy for work. Then they drive through traffic in a car that they still owe money on in order to get to the job they need to pay for the clothes and the car and the house they leave vacant all day long so they can afford to live in it. Does that sound familiar at all? Well, listen, Extraordinary is not doing this. Tonight, I want to show you some interesting things. How much do you sacrifice for your job, right? You'll do whatever it takes to get to work, right? You'll set an alarm clock. I used to set an alarm clock, and when that thing would go off, I'd jump up real quick because it's like shock, right? Well, in PPLSI, I wake up when I get done sleeping. I don't need an alarm clock. When my body says, okay, 6 hours today is good, 9 hours tomorrow might be better, whatever the case, when I'm done sleeping is when I wake up. I don't need an alarm clock. People get in rush hour traffic twice a day, and most people in most major cities, that's an hour each way. That's an extra 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month that not only do you not get paid for, but you're spending money on gas while you're there. You have bosses that you may or may not appreciate. You work hours that you don't really want to work. You've got deadlines that stress you out, and you'll go out and buy clothes that you need for the job. You'll have to drop some off the dry cleaners and spend that money. Gas in the car, lunch money, happy hour, daycare. We have all these expenses. People go, oh, well, my net income is this. Well, here's your salary. Here's after taxes. People say this is our net income. That's not the net income. When you subtract the cost of the job, you find out your net income runs anywhere, depending on if you have a child in daycare, between 30% to 60% of what your paycheck says you net. Matter of fact, I showed people in my training in Dallas that if you're a person making $30,000 a year, that you could write anywhere between 1.2 and 2.8 memberships a week as a manager in this company, and net the same amount of money you do from that $30,000 a year job. I'll do that training next time when Kaya gives me a little more time to do this. So when you leave the job, and you will, whether you get fired or whether you retire, how long are they going to keep paying you, right? What do you truly have after 40 years of working for others? You have nothing but 40 years of job experience and no more than very little cash flow. Here in our company, if you treat yourself with the same self-discipline, even part-time in your career, you can remove this job, if you will, after your part-time income passes your job income, you remove the job. Now you've got 40 more hours to create your fortune. Jim Rohn says, pay your bills with job income and create your fortune part-time. And when your fortune income passes your job income, quit your job and create your fortune. There's hundreds of people in this company that have already become millionaires as a result of it. So why not commit the same discipline for you through your PPLSI business that you do for a job? It just makes sense. I want to talk about our compensation plan from associate to director, because there's no quotas here, right? As you go from one level to the next level, you can't go backwards. There's no monthly quotas. But because there's no monthly quotas, people just take their time, lackadaisically moving. Some people go real fast, some just take a year to go to each level. It's not what the compensation plan allows you to do. It's what you do with it based on your self-discipline and your why about why you're doing this. So I want to talk about why, because there's no quotas. Why are you waiting to get to the top of the comp plan? See, why do you want to grow? Number one, because it makes your business more profitable. If you're an associate, right, you're doing the same work that you do as a director. We put information in front of people. We let them get their questions answered with a three-way call, and then they make an informed decision. And when they buy, we get paid. So if you're going to do the same work, why wouldn't you want to make $220 as advance commission as a director instead of $70 as an associate, right? There's no monthly quotas from those levels. So I think we'd all agree you'd rather be a director than an associate. So in 2022, this year we're in, the average company is giving raises at 3.3%, which is higher than it's been forever, right? The average person gets a 3.3% raise. I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm going to show you here. If you look at the percent increase as we grow from associate to director, I want to show you what that is. If you went to senior associate to where you go from $70 to $90, it's a 29% pay increase. Once you hit manager, from associate to manager is a 71% pay increase. If you go from associate to senior manager, it's a 129% increase. And when you go from associate to director, it's a 214% increase. Now, I'm not going to ask you when the last time your job gave you a 214% increase, but I want you to think about this. We have lots of people that are going from associate to manager in 45 days. That means they're getting a 71% pay raise within 45 days. And people that go to a senior associate in 20 days, they're getting 29%. What does that really mean to you compared to your job? Remember what you do for the job. And then we're talking about the discipline you want to take for your own PPLSI business. Here's the reason why. In order for you to get a 29% pay increase in your job, if you're averaging 3.3%, which is what the average is, you're going to have to work for 8.7 years at 3.3% to get to your 29%, or you can do it in 20 days or less. Which would you prefer? Now, you don't have to, but why not pick up the extra $400, right? If you go from associate to manager, which we have a lot of people doing in 45 days, my newest recruit, a real estate agent, she got there in 18 days, got her $1,000 bonus. So if you get to manager, that means you've gone from associate to manager. That's a 71% pay increase. According to the average in the jobs, you'd have to work 21 and a half years to get the same increase at 3.3%. You'd have to work 21 and a half years that you can get in 45 days or less. Which would you prefer? Pretty simple decision. When you hit senior manager, that's a 129% increase. Divided by 3.3, you're going to have to work 39 years to get the same increase that the average job will pay you. Why wouldn't you put more effort into your PPLSI business? And the final, a director at 214% increase. If your average is 3.3, in order to get 214, you've got to work for 65 years. I hit director in 45 days, ladies and gentlemen, when I started a long time ago. But my point of it is, what would have taken me 65 years at this rate, I did within 45 days. So my point of it is, why not go out and control your own income because of the money you can make and the powerful way we pay you so you can increase your income and do that well. See, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. One of my favorites is Shania Twain. Her net worth is $400 million. And she says it gets to the point where it's no longer about money. It's about the effect you have on other people. Not to be touting my own horn, but me and the network, when we were in Dallas Saturday, we stopped after having dinner and we stopped at a bar to have 2 beers. I was asking the young lady that came there, I said, tell me your name. And she said, Emma. And I said, so Emma, how long you been working here? I was just asking her a question, just befriending her, right? And so then I said, so tell me about more. I said, you married? You have a family? She said, I'm actually a single mom with a child. Then I said, is your child a boy or girl? She said, it's a 7-year-old girl. And I said, and I said, so let me ask you something. I said, are you making all the money you want to make here? And she said, no. And I said, how would you like to position yourself in front of one of the hottest emerging market trends in this country and have an unlimited income where you get paid daily? And she said, is that one of those, and I said, pyramids? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, let me ask you what a pyramid is, right? A pyramid is when the people at the top, correct? She said, yeah. I said, do you have a boss that's here? And she said, yeah. I said, is he working? She said, yeah. I said, if you don't show up for work, is he here doing your job? She said, yeah. I said, would you want his job? She said, no. I said, does he make more money than you? She said, yeah. And I said, who does he report to? And she said, the general manager. I said, do you think the general manager makes more than your boss here? She said, yeah. And I said, thinking about your boss, would you want the general manager job? She said, heck no. And I said, who does the general manager, who reported the general manager report to? She said, the owners. I said, are the owners here? She said, no. I said, are the owners working? She said, no. And I said, would you like to have the owner's job? She said, yeah. And I said, so we'll start you out as a business owner, and you'd be able to have start part-time and start building something that will replace this income, where you can have the same role the general manager the owner has, because you're a business owner now, not an employee of a company being managed by other people. And then Edmund, I said, matter of fact, Edmund, I'm mentoring Edmund right now. He's one of the sharpest, fastest growing people in our company. And I said, I bet he'd like to invite you to our event. And he said, yeah. He said, are you available at noon tomorrow? And she said, no. She said, I'd love to, but she said, I've got to work at my second job. I said, so you have two jobs? And she said, yeah. And I said, who's keeping your daughter? And she said, my mom. I said, how would you like to be your mom and being with your daughter right now? She said, I'd love to. And she said, I'd love to come. She said, but I just can't. I said, let me ask you this, Emma, do you watch videos? And she said, well, sure. And I said, so if Edmund sent you a video, would you watch it? She said, yeah. So I said, Edmund, hand her your phone. So he opened up his Prospect app. He handed it to her. He let her put it in it. He sent to her. I said, check your phone and make sure you got the video. And she said, I got it. I said, you watch it. And I said, and if you like what you see, we can talk further. If not, it won't take more than a few minutes of your time. Fair enough? And the next day he came to the event. He said, got the response from her already. She's interested. So, I mean, listen, you never know what you don't know, right? And it doesn't make any difference if people are broke or not. But I see too often too many people assaulting people. Hey, man, you ought to get in PPLSI. You can become a millionaire. That's not the way we do this. We befriend people, ask them questions, get to know them, and let them give you the reasons why they should be looking, right? People are going to tell you yes, they're going to tell you no. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, the reality of it is, you know, John Addison said, how did he say it? He said, you can simplify and multiply, or you can contemplate, or you can complicate and constipate, right? We want to keep this simple, friendly, let people look at the information, get their questions answered through a three-way call so they can see that they could do that too, and then let them make an informed decision. You can build an amazing business. See, the best way to predict your future is to create it. And if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you all have questions.